Welcome to F1 or F off.
Sorry.
No,
That's dated.
You know what? That's the intro. Here, let me actually do the intro proper. But I like how this one just kicked off. All right, here we go. Welcome to F1 or F off, your audio pit stop for F1 news and race reviews. I'm your host, Idris.
I'm Gabe. You said that so seriously. You're just like, welcome to F1 or F off.
I was doing my best, like Mike Trevisano, you know.
Oh no. Oh no. People outside Ohio are not going to know that name. We have to cater to a wider audience, okay?
Yeah.
Even though we're all Ohio boys here.
No, Cleveland till I die.
We have a special guest with us today on this episode. This is a special episode. It is our longtime friend. You will know him by Marcus Smith, but we know him by Damon for many, many years. But he is a musician, really talented one. My favorite song, Smith. And he is the one that provides the music for our little intros to our podcast. Yeah. So, Damon, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Of what, a month?
hey, every stream counts.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, when we appreciate it.
You know, Gabe, actually, when you kicked that off, when you were listing off the rules that Damon has in our life, I think you forgot mi corazón as well.
Oh yeah, yes, Damon is mi corazón.
Yeah, he is mi corazón.
Yeah, he is our heart.
Heart emoji.
The three of us have a pretty long history at this point. You know, we were friends for a really long time. We were bandmates for a pretty long time, although I dipped out a little bit and then came back in for all the good parts. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, Idris and I, obviously, like, you know, we are really close, but Damon is part of that, like, sort of inner circle of friends that no time or distance will sort of diminish your friendship with that person. You know what I mean? Unless unless they commit a murder, but even then, you know, I'd visit you in prison, buddy.
Hey, if I'm murdering somebody, you guys are gonna be there right by my side.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
That's love. Thanks. That's love.
I was Idris is a dad, though. He can't do that. That would not be great.
That's the perfect alibi.
I was home just feeding my baby.
So Damon, tell us about what you are doing currently. You just put out a new single, which has such a catchy chorusy hook. I mean, it was stuck in my head for days.
Perfect. Yeah, so the song's called Day After Day. It is the second single from my upcoming album titled Unique Mélange. Which literally translates to an interesting mixture, because that's probably the perfect description of my music. It draws influence from all over the spectrum, hip hop to rock to soul to funk. I think at one point we were doing like bossa nova stuff. So like it's all over the place, but it's still very cohesive. So I think Unique Mélange is the perfect like phrase that describes that. But Day After Day is a song I wrote. I actually stole it from my younger brother. He wrote the chorus and he sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, check out what you think. I have Dad singing on the hook." And I was like, "Man, this is amazing. It's mine now." And, and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I mean, I gave him a writing credit, you know. Splitting the royalties there.
You're at Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, that's mine now. Now pass the mashed potatoes. Dad.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's actually really special because my dad is singing on the hook with me.
That's awesome. Okay.
He's not really a singer, but his parts are sick. Because he's not a singer, I think he was able to do some things that people in music probably wouldn't have thought of, which I think is really cool and refreshing. But yeah, the music video dropped on the 3rd of February, so it's all over YouTube. You can find it. Directed by Long Division Creative out of Cleveland, my boy Darren. Yeah, it's just it's a feel good song. So yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I really like the song. You know, so Damon, you know how much I love Craig David. Like we've talked about our mutual admiration and love for this excellent singer from the UK. And I hear that song and I get that same kind of just happy vibe that I get from a lot of his music. So, you know, shout out to you for creating that and informing that in your own way, especially just the influences that you have now. Like, it's so cool to see the growth that you've had as an artist from the time that we met, I think all the way back in like 2008 to where we are now. And just how different life events have influenced your music. And yeah, it's cool. I'm glad to see this part of your music, because I think we've all been there with one another for like some of the lows and a lot of the highs too. So it's cool to see that representation.
Yeah.
That's something I remember being such a cool thing, such a cool dynamic that I like. You and I, like, part of like why we got along as well as we did musically is because like you have those sort of rock influences.
Yeah.
And like you play guitar, which it's always cool to see somebody that has like just such a wide array of sort of influence. I mean, I sort of had that similar thing, like, I'll jump from Jamiroquai to Meshuggah in a half second.
Oof.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's a hard jump, but it's a jump.
That's a great jump.
And like also too, Damon, you're also in like a pop punk tribute band right now too, right?
I am. So we are called This Is Growing Up. It's a Warped Tour tribute band, so all the favorites from like Green Day and Blink to Fall Out Boy, Paramore, My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday. So we started about 2 years ago, but then 3 years ago. I keep forgetting what year it is. And then COVID happened, so we kind of put everything on the back burner for a while, and then we swapped out a few members, and then we really hit the ground in December running. And now we got a few emo nights planned for this month and next month. We have exclusive drop. We've got emo prom coming up on May 13th in Cleveland. So if you're in the Cleveland area, check out emo prom and relive your high school years with us.
Oh, wait. Hold on. So this event, are we gonna enforce the rules of having, like, when slow dancing, you need to leave some space there?
Oh,
leave space for Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, you need to have like some boomer chaperones show up there to stand around and look at everybody menacingly, even though everybody's going to be in their 30s. Like, you need some just to make it an authentic experience.
I'm gonna call a bunch of teachers from our old high schools and hey, can you chaperone this dance for us?
Do it. Come on, you want it to be an authentic experience, right?
Absolutely.
Like, how more authentic is it that it has somebody who's older than you, like, trying to keep you from making out with the cute girl in math class?
Funny.
It makes me think that, honestly, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely wish I could redo my prom.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It sucks. It's like I'm sure everybody strives to have like a really memorable prom, but I would be willing to bet there's at least half of people out there who wish they could redo it, either because they had a bad date or something else happened, mishap, blah blah blah, or even just because like they didn't appreciate it while they had it. I definitely wish I could have redone my prom, because that was not
I think for me it was the not appreciating it.
Sure.
I went with one of my best friends. We're still really good friends to this day, but when we went back to my house to change, and then like ended up falling asleep, so we missed after prom just because we were passed out. And then
you were changing, right? Changing. Wink,
I'm
wink.
going through changes. But yeah, I would definitely redo it, because I heard After Prom was sick. It was at Fun and Stuff.
Fun and Stuff.
Dude, we just referenced. Okay, we talked about Fun and Stuff.
We did talk
on
about
this podcast. So this is hilarious. This is great.
That was
Fun and Stuff was a real place, everyone.
Shout out Fun and Stuff, y'all.
And that too, the what we talked about was a thing that we did. Like, Damon was there because that was our band. Like, that was like our band, like, group hangout session.
That was so much fun.
It was fun. Yeah, but like I got so pissed at like that 12-year-old that kept running into me. I was just swearing obscenities at him, and I couldn't help myself because I was so mad. Yeah, here's the thing. I was thinking about this too. Like, I will say I'm a little disappointed that Dave and Buster's stopped using tickets. Like, they have like the card thing, you like swipe and you get the credits. I mean, sure, it's more green, so it's like more environmentally friendly or whatever have you, but like there's just something about you, there's just a status, a feeling of power that you get when you have that giant bucket and you just have like just streams of tickets flying out of your hands.
Oh, dude.
And you're just strutting up to that ticket counter like, I'll take the PlayStation 3, please. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, there's something satisfying to it. So now, like, if I ever go to an arcade, it's like all of my money. I mean, as much as I love playing Hydro Thunder, I'll probably pay it like once, I just get stuck at the foosball table because I just want to make all those tickets, or the coin drop one. The coin drop's where you make the money. Ooh. That's where you get the tickets.
So that one is a little, I think, elusive as far as it's no, misleading is the word I'm looking for, right? It looks like you can win a lot of tickets, and you can for sure, but that is
You're
probably one of the most
persistent enough.
difficult games. Persistent enough. Persistent is what happens when you play this game as a kid and you end up in a casino just in thousands of dollars in debt. That's what that leads to, man.
I've only
That's
ever
the origin
gambled
story of
once. I've only ever gambled once in my life. It was actually at our Hard Rock show that we did.
Oh, nice.
And because our buddy Jaco gave me $1 and he was like, "Hey man, like, yeah, like do the penny slots or whatever." I went over, I turned that $1 into $8, and then I stopped and I bought myself a drink. And I'm like, you know what?
That's
it. I multiply my money by 8 and I'm gonna get a drink and I'm done. I'm ending on a high note. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can claim I'm like, you know what? I'm never lost to gambling.
You could tell that this story is from 2005 because a drink cost $8.
You're right. It was a dark and stormy too. It's probably going to cost like, 12 or 13 bucks at this point.
Oh my God. No, probably more than that, man. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
Dark and stormy. So Damon, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. So I asked you when Idris and I were starting this podcast if we could use the instrumental version of your song 2007, which it's still, I think it's still my favorite song that you've ever done. And I have a special attachment to that song actually too, which I can tell you about once we hear from you about that song specifically.
Yeah.
But and I'm gonna add a clip of it here.
Take me back to those days, never play safe. We used to run around until the cops came. Back then, I was so carefree, just young and dumb back when I was 17. I asked this girl, do you like Mike and Ike's? Cause I like Mike and Ike's. I got super nervous and then I said something like, I like you. Do you like me back? I got a light bright and a white mics on the like mic of rap. I kick ball like white lightning. I'd say I'm bad like Mike in 87, pre-white Mike in a mask. I'm alright, why do you ask? I talk rye and made a laugh. Then I woke up from my fantasy, drooling in my class. Dag, dripping sweat like I just got out the swimming pool. If you met me then, you probably wouldn't think I'm cool. I gotta say this, but you know it if you knew me back in high school. Me and John Kong was riding in my hoopty, loose leaf and big pins scattered on the bedroom floor when I was trying to be the very best like no one did before. Yes, that's the Pokemon reference, and just for reverence, evidence of my elegance, mastering the elements. Tell him Miss Marcus Smith, inevitable like this.
Tell us about 2007, because obviously like it's a song about memories and sort of like reminiscing about different times. Like what sort of put you in the mindset to write that song, and also why did you choose 2007 specifically as that year?
So for the longest time, shout out to Phil Collins. For the longest time, I've always said
I thought for the longest time. Whoa!
Oh no, that's Billy Joel.
Yeah, that's
Joel.
You said is that the song you meant?
That is the song I meant.
We can cut this out.
It's no, that's not getting cut.
No, keep that. Man.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I work at the Rock Hall. They might revoke my employment for that one.
It's okay.
There's a special clause in your contract that says you will not mistake Phil Collins for Billy Joel, or else you get kicked out.
No,
but anyway, continue.
Anyway, forever I've been like 2007 is the best year ever, because the best movies, the best music, the best, like it was just like a year of amazing things, like Superbad, Knocked Up,
Halo 3 came out that year.
Halo 3, I think Lupe Fiasco dropped an album that year. So many good things happened, and like I was 16 turning 17 going into my senior year of high school. I believe that was around the time I met you guys. Probably like the tail end of 2007 is when I started going to Jam and Java and going for karaoke and all that stuff. And that's really the year that I got heavy into music. Like we had been making music for a couple years at that point. But I think 2007 was really the year that I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So the song itself came about because I found the instrumental, I found the beat through the producer, and the title of it was Back When I Was 17. So that's when I was like, oh, back when I was 17, it was 2007. And so that's where all my verses and stuff
that's perfect,
kind of centered around that. but also the original like stand-in chorus was what back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore.
Oh, Travie McCoy.
Yeah,
Right.
originally by somebody else, but I can't think of the name right now.
Hit
Ahmed
again,
or something
right?
back in the day.
The beginning of it too also reminded me of like I thought it was a also kind of a reference to Tribe Called Quest. You know, back in the days when I was a teenager,
It
before I
is.
had status, before I had a pay. Yeah, like I thought like, oh yeah, like, you know, there we go. Like, you know, there's a little bit of that thrown into. Real quick too, just to kind of relate 2007 to the Formula One theming of our podcast. That was actually the year that Kimi Räikkönen won the world championship. It was the last year that Ferrari has done so far, I think, right?
Mhm.
They haven't won a championship since 2007.
I mean,
don't
they've
think.
had, yeah, no, I think that is accurate. And that was, and I think a couple years later, they brought on Fernando.
Yeah,
Like
but like Fernando
2000.
never won.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he never won
that
there.
was their
Seb never
last.
won
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. In
I mean,
many ways, 2007, very good year.
yeah. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's rookie
Rookie.
season, right?
Yeah.
So,
Was it really? He's been doing it that long?
bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
And his skin looks great, right? Like he moisturizes.
Well, you know that black don't crack.
Skin.
Yeah, black don't crack, bro.
You know, yeah. Well, I mean, that guy's at the top of his game, 100%. And it's funny, because I was thinking about this too. How we were talking about last 2 episodes ago, how he's only ever driven for Mercedes his entire career. Like, he was with McLaren, but he was in Mercedes engines, and that is like a unique thing to be driving like for the same, you know, engine manufacturer for so long. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah, some of the other greats haven't done that. Like Juan Manuel Fangio, that's a name that
he was
probably have never heard of. But yeah, he's all sorts of engine manufacturers.
Huh.
Well, so going back to 2007, I definitely have a special attachment to that song specifically, because for one thing, you had me do your album cover for that record, which was fun to do. I do think I could probably render a better Galaxy now, but you know, I think for the time I did pretty good. But that record specifically, I remember it was beginning of 2021, and I had just gotten broke up with, kind of sort of living on my own in a basement. And the thing that kind of helped me get through a lot of that was going for really long walks around the neighborhood and just playing that album on repeat. And I think it was partly just because there's certain elements of that I was just resonating with me. I mean, there's some other tracks on that record too that are very wholesome and, like, you know, heartfelt. But yeah, I think, like, you know, the whole idea, the thought of going back to 2007 when things felt a lot more simple, a lot easier to figure out. But also at that time, it's just like you know, I think everybody, when they get older, they look back on their previous years and they think like, I could have spent that time better. You know, I could have done more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just natural. I think it's just what happens to human beings. You know, we grow, we change, you know, stuff comes up that we can't anticipate, and we just have to kind of adapt to it. But yeah, I definitely, like, I have that on one of my S tier playlists, like my unskippable playlist, because it's just, it hits you right as soon as that comes on. It's just so good.
And for those video game fans out there, if you know what S tier means. That's that's the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm sure, like, you know, anybody who's like spent any time on YouTube looking up like video game top whatever's, like, you know, they're going to come across those like lists of like the S tier, you know, and a lot of times they're just kind of, I'm not going to say they're wrong because it's their opinion, but like sometimes they're wrong, especially when it comes, and I've said this all the time, I always tell you, Idris, when it comes to Need for Speed games, everybody is obsessed with the most wanted, and
this is the best
not saying it's a bad game, but I'm telling you right now, Underground 2 is still a better game. It's less frustrating, it's more fun, it feels more connected to like car culture. And yeah, and it just visually, it still holds up. I think today it still looks really good. So
is that a hill that you will die on?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah,
So,
keep your cop chases. I want to play a game to escape from the ideas of real life of having consequences for street racing. I want to escape that and live in a world where I can just drive around. There's no people to run into, and I can just race anybody in a car and like not have to worry about the cops on my back. Like that's what I want to live, and that's what everyone should want to live in this world, you know.
So speaking of racing in cars, Damon.
Yes.
What do you know about Formula One and racing other than vroom vroom, cargo fast?
Well, I think you just said it there. No, I know a little, like the smallest bit.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I had an F1 game on PlayStation 1
Ooh, vintage.
back in the day, but I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't tell you which one it was.
I had one on a demo disc. Remember those PlayStation demo discs
Yeah,
you used to get in the mail?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I had that one. And I think
Oh.
the only thing you could do is you could only do one race, and I think it was at Silverstone, and I think you could only drive a Ferrari. But like they had, I think they had Martin Brundle and Murray Walker do like the commentators, but they just had like their own little sound bites of like it's Schumacher. Like there's like this like the gap because they had to like piece them together. Yeah. Yeah, that was a slick game.
It's amazing.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
yes.
I know that, and then obviously Lewis Hamilton. He was. I think anytime somebody black does well in a predominantly white sport, they are pushed to the forefront, even if they're not like LeBron James level of. Even if they're not S tier, they they get pushed to the forefront because it's like this is unheard of. Like we've never seen this before. So I've definitely heard this name before. Exactly.
Yeah. What's unfortunate is that it's unfortunate that it is such a rare thing. You know, I mean, because like Idris and I have talked, like there was a guy, Willie Ribbs, back in the 70s and 80s who could have completely dominated F1. I'm pretty confident. I mean, he was such a fast driver. He did a test session in a car in a Brabhams, I think, and he was like just way faster than everybody else. And they just were just like, well, hey, thanks, but you know, you're a black guy, so you can't drive this car. And it's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, come on, you know? But I also think it's really important that Hamilton knows the position that he's in. He knows his influence and he uses his voice well, in a sense that he talks about things that people need to have attention brought to. Like in 2020, I think it was 2020 or 2021, Idris. I don't remember.
I think it was 2020 because that was the year Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, he pulled on his race suit and he had a shirt that said like arrest the cops that shot Breonna Taylor.
I think that was the first time I had really paid attention to him or heard about him. Yeah.
And it's wild too, considering that like Formula One is not an American exclusive sport. Like it is hugely international.
Very global.
And like the fact that he is plugged in that way, as far as like being aware of that and advocating for those things, like that just says a lot. Well, Damon, there's definitely a few songs that you've put out in the past few years that very much have like a really strong kind of message in that way. The thing that's beautiful about music generally is just, you know, being used as a tool to pull out emotion, to tell a story, to get across a feeling. It makes it a very human thing. And when you combine those sort of things with a lyrical content and the delivery, it just like, you know, it can really evoke an emotion that you're not expecting it to, you know, and I think that's really, really powerful. Like, for example, the Formula One theme is just so powerful and exciting. When you hear it, it just gets you hyped. It sounds like a Marvel theme for like a Marvel movie. Wouldn't you agree with that, Idris? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Just like, but we would have to come up with like a superhero for that theme, though. Is it like F1 Man? I mean, it could be Flash. It could be the Flash, the new Flash theme.
No,
you know,
not the
Flash. You know, just sprinting around the racetrack.
Yeah.
He's broken the lap record.
All right, I've got it. It's a guy who gets bit by a radioactive car.
Oh, yep.
He turns into Muffler Man.
And every time he springs into action, you go,
where would the car bite him with what?
the grill, bro.
Is it? He's Muffler Man. That's incredible.
What's his superpower though?
Oh, his superpower is he can he's like kind of like a transformer. He'll transform into a car and like, you know, he just drives fast. He's like Batman's car basically.
It's like so like Knight Rider, Christine, and the Batmobile kind of formed into one, where it's like attacking people, but it's also really smart.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a concept.
Okay. You know, I know people in comics. You know, we can make this happen. We can make this happen.
I know people in movies. We could pitch this.
So I read comics and I watch movies, and I would watch and read both. I can say that much.
My brother would absolutely just cry with this idea because he always tells me too. He just like, your perfect love of your life is out there, okay? And you set up on your first date and she turns out to be a car. Would you still date her? I'm just like, what? Why? Are we so confused? And he's just like, but you love cars. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like...
Oh my God. I mean, but let's really think about that scenario though. Like, she checks off all the boxes. She swiped right on you, Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, I would be confused. I mean, I don't know why I would swipe on a profile that's just a car. If she turned into a car during the day or like during the night or like vice versa, and it was like this kind of anamorph sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like I'd manage
automobile
that.
morphs.
Yeah,
no, that'd be a good book series.
I'd make sure the garage that she's in when she's a car is like perfectly comfortable and taken care of. Like she get the best insurance. I'd take care of all of that 100%.
Comprehensive insurance coverage.
Yeah,
I go all out.
I'm not gonna not date a person that turns into a car. Like they can't help it, especially if they're just great all around. If they're a great car and they're a great person, hell yeah, I'll date a half car.
She probably got a big trunk too.
Yeah, there you go.
There was somebody who married their car.
Yeah. There's a whole thing of people who are like into
inanimate objects.
Well, their cars specifically, like
yes.
they're. Don't ask me. I have no idea. Even though I'm the one that's sitting here talking about dating a car, but like that's not me. I can promise. So speaking of cars and speaking of music, there's one thing that I'd like to talk about. So I kind of asked you guys ahead of time,
yes,
to give me a list of 5 car related songs or like automotive sort of songs. I kind of want to start. Well, should we save Damon's list for last, or who wants to go first with their list of songs? Okay,
he's the guest of honor, so I want to hear his
guest of honor, Damon, or Marcus Smith.
All right, so I'm gonna actually start on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
I have 3 honorable mentions. This first one is a fantastic driving song, but the artist is super problematic.
Oh no, I know what song it is.
It's "Drive Slow" by Kanye West.
That's my number 4.
It's an amazing song, and the first time I heard it was probably 2005, so I was in sophomore year of high school, I think. I bought that album day it dropped. It is such a good song. It's got Paul Wall, GLC, like super early 2000s hip hop artists, but I think that album in particular is Kanye at his musical best. So that's an honorable mention. It missed the actual list because he is Kanye West.
So it's a dishonorable mention.
A dishonorable mention. Exactly.
Yeah, I still had it up there on my list. Like I was gonna preface it the same way, saying like this is not an endorsement of him, but the song is really good. He's at a different life stage, so
yeah.
This is his George Bush doesn't care about black people era, so that's okay.
It's so hard to like dissociate the music that you grew up loving. When people do things like that.
It's hard for everything, not even just music.
Right. Exactly. So my next honorable mention is Starboy by The Weeknd. It's not a driving song particular, but listening to it, I just feel like I'm in a futuristic landscape, driving through at like the most top speeds. It's a fantastic song produced by Daft Punk. It's amazing.
With that.
I think what does it in particular for that song is just that bass line, right? It's just so like it's so steady, right? Like you're just driving at like a really fast speed. Yeah, I feel that.
And then my last honorable mention, I don't even know if you guys have heard this song. It's called "Riding in My Hoopty" by a little band called Black and Broke. I wrote that song in probably freshman year of high school. No. I didn't have a car at that point. So yeah, I think it was sophomore or junior year of high school. Wrote that song because I had.
Was it your sob?
No, I didn't get the sob till after I came home from college.
Oh, okay.
I had a 1993 or 92, I can't remember.
Good year.
Ford Tempo.
Ooh, I was thinking about those yesterday.
Wow.
It was bright white.
You know why I was thinking about those? Because the car market is so insane right now that people are buying the crappiest cars for like 20 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm waiting to see, maybe I should buy like a Saturn before they are all completely deteriorated, because I just feel like there's going to be some collector's market out there for like a Saturn at some point. You know what I mean? Like, because people are just buying these things up like they're like these collectibles. And it's like nobody cared about this 5 years ago. You know,
on the Saturn, you absolutely should buy it. It's plastic, dude. Like, just get it. If anything, it's just gonna absorb the color of the food that you store it. I'm thinking of Tupperware. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, those are my 3 honorable mentions.
Okay,
those are good. Those are good picks.
You guys got your list ready? You want to go around?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go. Yeah.
What's your 5 pick? So my 5th pick is Highway by Christina Milian.
Oh,
she is probably most well known as an actress, but she dropped some dope albums throughout the early 2000s. This is on her 2nd album, Dip It Low.
Oh yes, yep, great song, great album.
Or no, what's it called? It's About Time, something like that.
Oh, it has Dip It Low on it, right?
It has Dip It Low on it, yeah. But she was my celebrity. I say was. She is my celebrity crush. My wife knows it. It's fine. But in the promotional pictures for that song, she wore like this blue skin tight spandex suit with like racing stripes down the side. A1. But I'm pretty sure the song's about sex and not about driving. So
what driving song is not also somehow about sex? I mean, they go hand in hand so well, you know, true. Like, I mean, you'll see that like with my list, pretty apparent with a lot of those. But yeah, so that's your number 5.
That's my number 5.
Okay. All right. Idris, what is your number 5 car song pick?
All right. My number 5 car song is 4 a.m. by Cascade. Yeah, Cascade with that's a K at the beginning and a K in the middle. Yeah, no, this song is really good. So first off, as far as like verses, there are none. You definitely have a hook being sung by some soprano sounding woman, all English words. I think the most she says is like, I'm sure that someday we will find our way, something along those lines. But it's just such a nice chill song to drive to, especially late at night if you're driving the freeway or driving through a city. It just feels like, you know, you're kind of like an out of body experience where you're kind of watching yourself drive. And I love that. I love that feeling of just being there, but also like not being there. And it just really takes me to a place where I can just think, you know, and really just let my mind wander. And I found a lot of really good times when I'm listening to a lot of times where I've had really good reflection moments while listening to this song, especially in the car. So, and also there are some really cool YouTube videos where people just have, you know, just their dash cam of them driving late at night and then they speed it up. And then you see like, you know, them starting to drive at 11 p.m. and then all the way through 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So you see like sunset, sunrise. It's beautiful.
So you guys are doing something that I avoided because I was like trying to curate it more to like car specific songs, because there are a lot of songs that make me think of driving, or I think would be good driving songs that are not about driving.
Yeah.
So I think what I'll do, just to kind of match your guys' energy before I give you my 5th, is I'll give you a couple of honorable mentions that I omitted from mine because of that reason. So one of them is the Summer Song by Joe Satriani. It's instrumental and it's a guitar song. It's on my favorite record by him called The Extremist. And that song, not only was it in a Gran Turismo, which already right there validates it, but the music video is him playing guitar at a Destruction Derby event. And so like there's like shots of him like shredding, and then there's like cars are like slamming into the guardrail. But it is a very much a driving on the highway kind of tune. It just has this like rolling kind of, it's really, really good. The other honorable mention of mine is actually In My Head by Queens of the Stone Age. Ooh. Specifically because that is in Need for Speed Underground 2. And I have very, very specific memories of that song playing while I'm like driving that game. So like that to me is like, feels like a very driving kind of song. So my 5th pick is Little Red Corvette. Maybe you're much too fast. That's good. Little Red Corvette by Prince. I just, obviously, like Corvettes are my favorite car, and Prince is just amazing. So him singing about a red Corvette, I just, it's perfect. It's just absolutely perfect.
I did not know the Corvette was your favorite car. I think we've talked about this several times. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
This changes things.
There's a reason for that though, too. It's like, as you guys know, my dad was a cop for like 18 years. He's also like 5'5". He's basically like Danny DeVito. And so because of that, they did this thing in Cleveland where they would, if they busted a drug dealer or something, they would confiscate their car, go to the police impound. And sometimes the police would buy the cars. And that's I think where you get a lot of the dare cars, like the monster trucks or whatever, because they're like just basically they just bought the cars after like drug dealers get busted or whatever. And so they had this C4, like I think it was like an 84 like C4 Corvette that they turned into a police patrol vehicle.
Ooh.
And because my dad was 5'5", he could fit inside of it comfortably. Where all the other cops that were like 6 foot, whatever, couldn't drive it comfortably. And he used to take me to like preschool in this thing. And I remember it was just the coolest thing. I was just like, this is amazing. But yeah, no, I love Corvettes. So obviously I love this song and I love Prince. So number 5, Little Red Corvette.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm gonna keep it going.
Do it
with Speed Demon by Michael Jackson.
Yes. Idris, you just heard that song for the first time when we were in Austin. Remember?
Oh no,
Did you really?
I actually know that song. It's just I never knew the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we blasted that in the parking lot. We were waiting to leave.
Speed
Demon.
I had never heard the song before. I had the Michael Jackson Experience game for Nintendo Wii. And that was one of the songs you could play. And I was like, ooh, this is groovy. And I went back after that and listened to the Bad album. And the man's got hits, but that one was definitely a standout.
Yeah, I'm still convinced that the Bad album is a better album overall than Thriller. And I know that is like a controversial thing to say, but like even Bad's like mediocre-ish sort of songs, like the stuff that aren't the hits, are like better than this non-like tracked like Thriller stuff, for at least for me. This is just my opinion.
I can see that. Thriller's not my favorite Michael Jackson album either, but that's an interesting opinion, Gabe.
It's got some good.
It is certainly an opinion.
You go through the track list of Bad, it's got some good stuff.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Liberian Girl, yeah, man, that is
my favorite Michael Jackson song of all time is The Way You Make Me Feel.
Yeah, that's on Bad,
and that's on Bad. Yeah,
that's not bad. Yeah. Next one.
I have Drive Slow by Kanye West.
Oh yeah, right.
For the same reasons that Damon gave. Yeah, it's
right.
Actually talking about driving, right? It's good. It bangs.
Okay. All right.
What you got? Number 4.
My number 4 is the title track for the album "Traveling Without Moving" by Jamiroquai.
Ooh.
That song, for one thing, it starts out with him starting up his like Ferrari and like taking off down the road. So you just hear this like swell of a car engine and the shifting. And then the bass line comes in, it does this great thing where it's like, it's got this funky, fast, like sort of beat. And then it switches to like this disco beat for the chorus. We're traveling without moving. And it's just, oh God, it grabs you. It's just one of those, like, it's simple, but effective, like disco funk. Like Jamiroquai is just so good for that. But, and also too, I mean, the song is about driving. Like the lyrics are, he talking about like driving and parking and braking. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that qualifies, I'm a big lover of Jamiroquai. I love that record. That record actually specifically, Traveling Without Moving, is a great record to go on a run with because you can all the songs you can sort of find a good running tempo with as you go along. Even the slow songs, you just kind of double time it and it's perfect. So that's one of my like running songs when I would go running outside.
Okay.
I feel it. All right, now let's swing it back to you, Damon.
So I'm gonna go. My number 3 is Ready to Go by Republica. And if you don't recognize it by the title and artist, maybe you'll recognize it as the song from the Top Thrill Dragster Q line at Cedar Point in Sandusky,
that might be the
Ohio.
most Ohio thing that's ever been said on this podcast.
From Ohio without telling me you're from Ohio.
That or all the yeah no's or no yeahs we throw out there.
No. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
But no, that song is the epitome of my summers as a kid, waiting to ride Top Thrill Dragster, because they only loop like 20 seconds of the song, and it's like, I'm ready to go from the rooftop, shout it out. And it's a banger.
Oh, they're tearing down
It
the
is
Top
good.
Thrill
It is
Dragster
good.
too, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
already closed it. It was just too dangerous.
Yeah, nobody's getting their Top
Yeah,
Thrills
it's-
anymore.
It's a drag.
It was. Oh man.
Well, somebody got
Oh,
injured
man.
recently, right? Didn't like a
That was
piece fall
good.
off of it and like hit
Yeah,
somebody in the head?
Yeah.
I think
And I
that's
think
that
that's-
was their decision to close it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Ugh.
been getting really bad.
Yeah, that could have easily been me because I would not have been going on that. I just would have been a bystander sitting around, and then knowing my luck, I would just be at the right perfect spot to be hit by a projectile spring or something.
So you sitting there on your phone in 2008, you get hit. You're I was just playing Farmville on Facebook. What the hell, man?
All right, Idris,
Okay.
number 3. Where are we at?
My number 3. Okay,
Oh,
so
Idris.
it seems I'm glad Damon already went there with just kind of delving into the silly territory. My number 3 pick is the song "Living in the City" from the game Sonic R. That is the racing game, the racing Sonic game, where you're literally just playing as Sonic or any of his assorted cast of friends, and you're running through different courses. The game is terrible. Like the controls are awful, but it's just like that hit of nostalgia anytime I hear it, you know. Oh, it's just so catchy. Like I would actually really recommend that you guys just look it up after this because it's just like living in a city, you know, you have to survive. Like it's got this like very like this very 90s, like mid 90s positivity to the song. You know, just like when you're with your friends, you can do anything. That kind of that feel, right? It makes me feel good. Makes me feel good inside.
Yeah.
It reminds me of simpler times.
You know, I'm going to say it honestly, video game music in the 90s was just phenomenal.
Top tier.
I mean, I often think about it. It's like, you know, why am I into like shredding guitar as much as I am? And there's always things that I go back and I see from my past. Like I love Twisted Metal. I've always loved it since I was a kid. And if you go back and listen to the songs for the soundtrack from the original Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2, there is guitar shredding all over that. There's one song that is like a perfect blend of like a Boston and Joe Satriani together. And it's like, it's called Highway Battle, I think. And the thing is, the same studio that did Twisted Metal also did Jet Moto. So all of the like had the same musicians who did like the songs for Jet Moto. There's also a couple of songs that like switch over, like they use the same song in the same game. But yeah, like, you know, our influences as kids on like our music, I think that video games have really influenced a lot of people. That's why I also think that there's a lot of, I think why lo-fi and like thematic sort of almost like menu music is like a thing. For example, Birdman from Pilot Wings 64, that song is a groove. So yeah, like 100%, I think video games, especially driving video games, have a lot of really, really good, interesting, you know.
And on that note, because I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon recently, and man, those soundtracks are banging. You know, they curate the experience so well where like when you're driving, you're excited, right? Like you're like, oh man, I'm feeling this song. You know, I just want to drive to the English countryside, find a new garage, unlock a new car, that kind of thing. And you also have the Gran Turismo, like, let me just listen to this, like someone clearly on shrooms jazz, as you know, as you're just like going through the menu, where it's like,
yeah.
You know, it's just really, really nice, you know?
Yeah.
Gabe, I think. What's your number 3?
Yeah.
My number 3 is by the metal band Saxon, and it's called Wheels of Steel. And you turn it on and you can't think of anything else except like driving, because it just has this really intense like rock and roll riff that you're just instantly dan out, and it has some of the best like lyrics. Cause my wheels of steels are rolling. If you're coming, come quick. I'm burning aviation fuel. My foot's to the floor. You know, she's cruising 140. She'd do even more. Like it just, the whole song is just about like driving a car very dangerously, very fast and burning horrible fuels. Yep. And it just goes on forever too.
When was that song released?
This was released, I think, in 1980, maybe. Let me look at it.
I was going to say, definitely before Al Gore
yes, 1980
told us to respect the environment.
yeah, no, 100%. But see, here's the thing. Saxon is one of the perfect, I call it muscle van rock, because it is like
muscle van.
Yeah, like imagine having a muscle van with like a wizard mural painted on the side of it, and you're blasting this song. It's just that's that music. It's all about dragons or motorcycles or cars and fighting them. That's like their whole thing. So yeah, Wheels of Steel by Saxon.
Nice.
All right, now we're up to our top two.
Top two.
It's
gonna be good. Okay,
we are in podium positions.
My number 2 is Drive My Car by the Beatles.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
It is honestly one of my favorite album openers of all time. Rubber Soul is my favorite Beatles album, so I listen to that album very frequently, and that song, just whenever it comes on, that just the perfect start to a song, perfect start to an album. Yeah.
I got dagger eyes the other day from somebody because I said that I think Rubber Soul is peak Beatles.
I would agree with that.
And
what did they say was?
Oh, they were just
Probably
everybody.
Pepper.
Apparently, most people think that Revolver is the best thing they've ever done.
What?
But here's the thing: I listened through Rubber Soul, and I listened through Revolver, and for me, Rubber Soul has that perfect balance of like they're entering the 60s, they're getting more interesting, but it's still very much structurally listenable, like kind of pop stuff. Revolver starts to get more weird and experimental in this way that I'm not a huge fan of that Beatles. I like the Beatles that's like emerged from the 50s, you know. I started collecting records again, and so I thought, well, if I'm gonna get a Beatles record, one of them is going to be Rubber Soul, because I don't have any urge to like try and skip any songs on it. Like I want to just
right. That's a sign of a good album though, too, right? Like that
100%.
is there are not many albums that you can sit down and just say, yep, not just unskippable, right? And not a single track is skippable there. That's good.
Yeah.
Drees.
Okay. Number two, right? Okay. This song is from Need for Speed Underground 1, which is absolutely like that is my favorite. I would say I have to say that's probably my favorite Need for Speed. Even though the rubber banding in that game is ridiculous. The song is titled Need for Speed by P.D. Pablo. And
I got the need for speed.
I got the need for speed.
When the cops come, all I hear is yes. When the cops come, all I hear is yes.
So the reason I picked this song,
the gas.
okay, clearly you can hear the reactions that we all have to this song. This is why I love it so much, because the second, like, if you're in a group of car heads or people who play video games and love racing games, and you start saying, when the cops come, all I hear is, you're gonna hear everyone just go, whoop, whoop, whoop. You know, like it's just
see you later, alligator. I'm gone.
It's just such a fun song, and what I love about it is that P.D. Pablo did not take himself too seriously in that studio when he was recording that. And man, it was just really, really fun to listen to. I think that's the song that anytime I boot up Need for Speed Underground, or if I hear that song, I'm just like, oh man, that takes me back to being like 10 or 11, sitting down and, you know, got a bowl of cereal, and I'm gonna get to the next chapter in the game that night. You know, like it's definitely nostalgia is an element with a lot of these songs I picked, and I think that's probably one of the strongest. This is one of the strongest reasons for this making it to this position so far. Honestly, this could have been any song from that soundtrack, but I think this one might be, you know, a little more my favorite than the rest of them, just because it's just fun. It's fun. You know, 24 by T.I. I think is maybe a little too serious. Even though that's good too.
Is that on the soundtrack?
Yes, you start up the game, it's like 24 cars.
That's all my mama. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good choice. I can't not hear that song and not picture a Dodge Neon getting like, you know, bumpers swapping through and like, yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Picking the underglow too. All right, Gabe, what's your number two?
So my number two, easily one of my favorite songs just generally, is Crosstown Traffic by Jimi Hendrix.
Ooh.
And not only because it's got some really fun car related songs and the riff is just really heavy, but it's also one of the few songs where a kazoo is used and it's cool. Like when you hear it, the do that's him with a kazoo in his mouth, like playing into the microphone, which is just like, why would you use a kazoo? Because it's Jimi Hendrix. He's going to do what he's going to do. But yeah, like some of the lyrics are so good too. Like, I'm not the only soul who's accused of hit and run. Tag tracks all across your babe. Well, I can see you had your fun, but you know, it's just like, oh man, like my signal's about to turn from green to red, and with you, I can see a traffic jam way up ahead. You know, it's like, oh man. I mean, anything Hendrix does is just like, but
yeah,
that song particularly is just super fun, and it's just got really great, like, just there's like this piano playing in the background along with the guitar bit, and yeah, Crosstown Traffic by Jimi Hendrix, just great tune.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, and now we
are at the ultimate picks.
And it's funny that you picked the Jimi Hendrix as your number two, because my number one is actually Tokyo Drift by the Teriyaki Boys.
No! Why would you do that to me?
So, all right, so I got to explain this for everyone. The reason Gabe is reacting so strongly to this is because Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is absolutely Gabe's favorite film of all
Oh
time.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
I think it's tied
favorites.
with the Phantom Menace.
Oh, please
absolutely, absolutely.
set
Yeah,
me on
the
fire right
midichlorians.
now.
It was the midichlorians in Tokyo Drift that did it for him.
Oh, God.
No, I think he just hates it so much, and it's so funny. Like the rest of us, we will actively bring up quotes from the film and just talk about how we think it's the best. I mean, we don't care, right? But he just
Ugh.
loses it. And it's so
The
great.
whole opening
Here he goes.
sequence is so ridiculous. Like, oh, you're gonna drag race for me. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You guys are gonna drag race through an abandoned housing development and destroy property, and like, he wins the race. It's like, I thought you loved me, and then he shifts his gear and somehow goes faster. Like, but
That's how that works.
There's so many things about it that are just completely trash. I mean, also based on the fact that clearly they're trying to pass off like the hills in Southern California as like a Japanese like mountain drive. No. You ain't fooling me, pal. Like you guys you only did a couple of pickup Tokyo shots and then you filmed the rest of it in SoCal. Like, I'm not buying it.
I've watched Initial D so many times. I know what the mountain of a
no, but it's like, come on, like I mean, there's like desert plants and like there's no trees. It's like, have you seen Japan? It's green. Right. Like, what are you trying to sell me here? It's not working. It ain't passing by my radar. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, 2006. So what? 15-year-old me was like, this is the most amazing film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then the soundtrack to back it up. Oh, come on. What's it called? 6 Days by DJ Shadow is the first song, is the opening song of the film, featuring Mos Def. And that song is just, every time I hear it, it takes me back to seeing that movie for the first time. I don't know. There's just so many good songs on that album, but Tokyo Drift, the title song, it holds a special place in my heart. Produced by Pharrell of the Neptunes.
Oh
yeah, I don't think you can get any better than that.
That's a good
all right.
That,
I ain't yucking anybody's yum. I just can't. I can't with that movie. I just can't.
Look, the film aside, the song is a banger, and that's all that counts. Right. That's a good pick.
Okay.
All right. So my final pick. Yeah, my top pick is Rainbow Road theme song from Mario Kart 64. Let's go. The song is just, again, this is another nostalgia hit for me. Like anytime I hear it, it just takes me back to just being a kid playing Mario Kart with my family. It's really just more so the time it represents. You know, this is not a banger of a song by any stretch of the words. If I was going to pick any of them as bangers, it would have been Drive Slow, right? Or maybe Need for Speed by PD Pablo. But it just takes me back to a good time. And
Drees with the unconventional picks here. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. So this one might surprise you guys, but I have reasons. So my number one pick is Shut Up and Drive by Rihanna.
I thought of that one, actually.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I have reasons. And the reasons are not necessarily related to racing, actually.
Good. Okay.
So you guys know, so I'm a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. I have been since I moved to Portland. And in one of the All-Stars season where they brought queens who had lost and then they bring them back as like an all-star season to try and compete again, there was a lip sync battle between a queen named Alyssa Edwards and another queen named Tatiana. And they did this thing where it's like the one queen had a blonde wig. Well, they both had blonde wigs, but one was in like white lingerie and then the other was in black lingerie. And they start their lip sync and the song kicks on. And was one of the most like they do this lip sync battle basically like in order to determine who's going to be sent home and who's going to stay. Yeah. And because it's a part of drag queen culture is to lip sync to songs. And the song, I mean, not only is the song just so incredibly good, but it also just like watching that lip sync battle and just watching them like do flips and splits and like do the whole thing. It's just so crazy. It was like one of the best ones that they've ever done. And so that song just is by itself too. It just got like this like driving like kind of rock riff. It's got some great lyrics in it. You know, they're not all like completely nonsensical. It's just like kind of, car vernacular or whatever, slang being used. So yeah, I know. So I would never thought I would be into a Rihanna song, but like 100% that is super dope. And also one of my favorite guitar players like goes on tour with her occasionally as like a player. So
Nuno's on that?
Yeah, Nuno Betancourt.
That's right. Okay. Damn. These are some good picks.
Yeah,
were there eclectic mix of songs here?
Were there any other songs that you guys almost made your list that were like more honorable mentions you might want to like kind of bring up?
I was kind of struggling, but I did have Drive by Incubus cross my mind. Midnight City by M83 from the movie Drive. I looked up a playlist called Songs About Cars.
Yeah, so I did, just in case, just to filter out, just in case I missed any.
Yeah.
I almost put Gary Newman's Cars. Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I mean, it's a good song, and it's literally just cars. Yeah.
But I'm in Love with My Car by Queen.
Oh,
was another one that song is just not that good, but it is
musically, it's awesome.
It is.
But the lyrics are really, I mean, talk about cars and sex. I mean,
right.
I had one extra that did not make the list. This was Night Call by Kavinsky.
I was trying to think of that one.
Is that the one you're thinking about from Driver?
Is that the one from Drive? Yeah.
Yeah.
Midnight City is another one, but I think I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, that one's really good. I don't know. Again, it's very similar to the reason I gave for picking 4 a.m. by Cascade. It's just, you hear that song, it kind of takes you to another place where you can just think and focus, and that's the majority of the cuts that made my list. So yeah, those are some really good picks as far as songs go. I did want to switch it over to getting some insight from you, Damon. If you could help us, we don't know much about cars, and
like at all. I don't know anything.
And we would love if you could give us what your idea of what these words mean. So we've put together a list of words from the Formula One sphere. And what we're hoping is you could just educate us. Let us know what you think these things mean.
Yeah, okay? You don't necessarily have to think like, oh, like I'm trying to think like what this is. Like, you are now ahead of the FIA and you are determining what these things mean for the sport verbatim. So like just whatever you decide is what goes. Okay.
All right.
So, Idris, give him a word.
All right. So the word is chicane.
Oh, easy. So that's when there's a hurricane in Chicago, so we can't do a race there. Say, sorry guys, race is canceled. There's a chicane.
That one came to you immediately.
I love it. A Chicago hurricane. Okay, perfect. That's a chicane, everyone.
Excellent.
It's a Chicago town hurricane.
Okay.
You get crazy hurricanes on Lake Michigan. What can I do?
It's that lake effect, man.
Okay.
Next up, paddock. Paddock. Paddock.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say that paddock is kind of fish.
Okay. What's the origin of this fish? Where does it come from?
It's the cousin of the haddock. But it's not a literal term. It's like the last person in the race is the paddock because they're the fish. They just flopped around all race.
So Nicholas Latifi was a fish that just flopped around at last place all last year.
Just flopped around, man.
Okay.
Nicholas Paddock Latifi.
Nicholas Paddock Latifi. Okay.
It's funny because he also had, like, people called him Goat Tifi.
Goat Tifi, yeah.
Yeah, Goat Tifi. And, you know, there's more of a meme name, but
when we were in Austin, every time he passed by, even though he was like, 10 seconds behind everybody cheered so loud when he rode past. It was such a good feeling.
It was. Just everyone's there for the right reasons. All right, next up, we have just 3 letters. DRS.
DRS.
You can make that stand for anything you want it to.
Yeah, what does that stand for, President
Marcus?
I have 2 options, and I'll let the board decide.
Okay.
So
gracious of you.
Driver response syndrome. That's just when their response time is absolute dog shit.
Okay.
The other one is doctors. It's quite literal.
Yes, I see that.
It's when we need a doctor on the scene ASAP, and we can't afford to use the entire word. We have to agree. DRS.
As a member of the board, I vote for the second option because that would just cause mass chaos. Could you imagine? You just see that text on screen, just DRS, like Doctors? Do they need doctors? Is
No,
that what they need?
I like the first one. What was it? A driver's reaction syndrome? Is that what it was?
Driver's response syndrome.
Driver's response syndrome. That would be hilarious. Could you imagine like a driver barely takes off from the start and it just like flashes on the screen, just goes bum, 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 bum. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. Okay, this is making the sport way more interesting. I'm into it. Okay.
Absolutely. The next one. All right, you want to do this one, Gabe?
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. I'll do this one. So the next one is a phrase commonly used. It's box, box, box. Just the word box said 3 times. Box, box, box.
Box, box, box.
But imagine someone says it with a British accent, so that might help.
Box, box, box.
Okay. I think I know this one. This one we'll keep the original meaning, which is when you order too many Amazon packages for the race, and there's just box, box, box all over the place.
It's like a declaration for the safety of the sport. There's a box, box, box on the track. The Amazon driver's still around turn 3. Okay, so it is a we're getting a lot of like declarations about the conditions of the race from Damon here. Like, you know, box, 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 the chicane being a hurricane that we, can't race with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dries, next.
So, best of the rest. What does that mean?
Best of the rest? Is that second place?
I don't know.
What does it mean?
When you're not good enough to be first place, you're the best of the rest.
I mean, it's accurate.
I feel like that is a self-explanatory, but it's so like that feels very hurtful. At that point, just call me second place.
Okay.
Next up.
Wait. That's like in Destiny's Child. They're like, "Hey, Michelle, you're the best of the rest. You're no Beyonce, but you're the best of the rest."
I personally thought Michelle was a fantastic singer.
You know who doesn't have a best of the rest? The Beatles. Because all of them had solo careers that were fairly successful. So
that is true.
Everybody has their own best of the rest for that one.
But everyone always poops all over Ringo, though.
Nobody needs to be pooping on Ringo, especially after that Disney documentary. It just shows that Ringo is just a super fun guy that was just happy to be there, and that's the best kind of thing.
Right. I don't think people need to be casting shade on it.
Also, Ringo's first solo album featured all of the other Beatles, and I think that was the only solo album of the 4 to do that.
Yeah, because clearly they all liked Ringo and he got along with everybody. So
right.
The next one is Clag. CLAG.
CLAG. Clag. So this is you pull into your pit stop and the guy's clagging on the tires with his wrench because he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's clagging.
To clag.
Is this a technical term then?
Yeah. That's a very technical term.
A very technical term. That's how you test the tire pressure. You got to clag on it with a wrench.
Clag it.
Okay. Comic panel with the sound effect.
We need to send an email to Red Bull.
It says clag.
We need to send an email to Red Bull and let them know that there's a new procedure for checking tire pressures this year. It's to clag the tire with a wrench.
Clag it.
Just clag it.
I think that needs to be on a t-shirt. Just a picture of a wrench.
And just clag it.
And it'll say, just clag it.
Okay. I like it. Just clag it. All right. This is us putting together future merch ideas if these episodes ever get real popular.
Not if, but when.
But when. Thank you. I like the optimism. Okay. Here's a fun one. Lollipop.
So a lollipop at its core is sweet. So a lollipop in the race that's when you win. That's like your sweet victory.
That's good. I prefer that one.
Lewis Hamilton wins the 3rd lollipop of the season. Oh, that'd be so much more adorable than champagne if they just handed them a giant lollipop to celebrate with. And instead of spraying the champagne, they're like smacking each other with it. That would be incredible.
He's up there on the top of the podium, just like licking his lollipop. He's like, yeah. So
anyway,
I beat him and I got more points and that's how we won.
They put on that little like hat that's got the propeller on it, like they just like ride away in a tricycle that's like branded like Mercedes. Yeah. Oh, that would be incredible. Okay. I'm into that one.
Yeah. The next one, diffuser.
Diffuser. Oh, easy. I've got a diffuser in my house. You put essential oils in it and makes the car smell nice.
There you go. I like it. Are we talking lavender?
What scents are the drivers putting in their car?
I think the standard is like a vanilla.
Okay.
Because it gives you that calming sensation to make it around the track a few times.
Okay.
But also I know some of the top tier do an Egyptian musk.
Ooh. Okay. It has a very nice oud smell to it.
You know Lance Stroll is so basic. He's doing like the sandalwood on the beach scent. You know what I mean?
Ocean
he's doing the sandalwood and like the grandma's cupcakes or something like Yankee
grandma's
Candle
apple
themed.
pie.
Yeah. Okay. That's something I think we should figure out is what essential oil scents the drivers would be using based on their personality.
If this podcast ever makes it big, that's going to be the interview question we ask every person from the F1 sphere.
Mm-hmm.
What scent
Max
would you use for your essential oil diffuser?
Yeah, Max would just be that scent that they used outside of Abercrombie and Fitch. That would be Max's scent.
You mean the scent you smell and you just suddenly...
You just go, yeah, it's just really intense. Yeah, there's blasting, I don't know, whatever they're blasting out of that. Just generic,
where's that music coming from?
Where's that music coming from? Okay, next one, Idris.
Next up, we have Halo.
Halo?
Yes.
As in Halo.
Yeah. That was where my head went to.
So that is when things get kind of dicey on the track. People pull out their giant gun, like in the game Halo. Okay. And somebody's gonna get haloed.
That sounded dangerous.
Melee.
We've turned F1 into a car combat
like
game.
Death race. Yeah.
with that's based on a sugar rush and essential oils. Okay. All right.
I'm liking this sport.
We are changing the entire
fun.
Face of Formula One, and I'm here for it. The podium is going to be so much more fun with lollipops on it.
Honestly, the name Drive to Survive has a much different meaning now.
Yes, that's right. Lots of important things coming from the new president of the FIA here. Okay, here's the next one. Dirty air.
Whoa. Watch your mouth, man. I think that feels like a slur. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dirty air.
Dirty air.
That's what you say when the driver in front of you is pissing you off. You dirty air.
Oh, like an heir to a fortune, like he is the heir to the Earl of Grantham from Downton Abbey. He's like, you dirty air. Okay. If that's what we're doing. Yeah. Okay. I like that. Okay. Dirty air. Okay. Here's another one. Barge board.
Barge board.
Oh, this one's a stumper, huh?
Okay. So when there's a collective of drivers and they want to barge on in, they'll form a committee really quick and vote on if they should cut in. So that's the barge board.
Okay. I like it.
Also known as the barge committee.
The BB or the BC.
I like how diplomatic these drivers are. It's like, shall we barge in, sir? Well, ask Sebastian. What do you say? Well, I'm making them all fancy lads every time I do imitations of the drivers.
It is a
fancy dudes.
They spray champagne on one another on the podium.
Yeah, it's true. Well, actually, no, it's not champagne anymore. It hasn't been for years. It's just sparkling juice? Like sparkling white wine, apparently.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So it's not. It used to be champagne, but like those giant bottles. Oh my God, you imagine if that was champagne? Jeez, it'd be like half the cost of the car.
Hey.
Those who oppose say nay.
Nay.
Nay. All right. Next up, we've got graining.
Can you spell that?
Graining is spelled Graining. Graining.
Okay.
Graining.
Graining. Oh, okay. I got this one. That's when the driver eats too much rice the night before a big race, and so in their car they're trying not to poop. They're trying not to poop a lot of grain.
It's a lot of fiber, though. I mean,
yeah,
I don't blame them.
Box.
Lewis, how are we doing? Getting a lot of graining here. Okay.
I don't think I can make it around this next lap. I've been graining for 3 laps so far.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, that's excellent. All right, graining. I'll accept it. That means that there needs to be a team that's sponsored by Metamucil.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we have our
Last-
final definition that we need from you, President, and that is for the word or double word, hot lap.
Hot lap. That's when they take a photo of the driver with the sexiest lap, and they post it on social media to praise it instead of shame it.
The sexiest lap. How do you make a lap sexy? I want to know.
Hey,
Oh.
when you know, you know.
That lap was so sexy. Oh my gosh.
You could say it was hot.
that lap was so hot. Okay, so just as a summary of things, so as far as the sport goes now, we can't race Chicago unless there's a hurricane. The person in the back is a fish flopping around a paddock.
Yep.
The drivers can suffer from driver response syndrome.
Correct.
You never want to get that one.
Amazon drivers who dump packages on the ground, there's an alert goes out that's called box. Best of the rest is an insult to whoever is second place. Clag is banging the tires with a wrench to make sure that it's up to tire pressure.
It's a verb. It's a verb.
Right.
Clag it. Just clag it, man.
Just clag it. Lollipop is what we're giving the drivers instead of champagne on the podium.
Absolutely.
Every F1 car is now going to be installed with a essential oil diffuser in each car that will waft over a scent as they pass on the track.
Very calming.
If there's any on track disputes, will be settled with a Halo style death match where the car, like guns come out of the car. Okay. Dirty air is what you call somebody who's pissing you off on track. Barge board is a committee of people who are agreeing to barge in on a meeting that they disagree with. Graining is when you've had too much rice and you're about to, dump in your pants in the middle of a race. And then a hot lap is when somebody just does that really sexy lap and you got to celebrate it on the internet.
There we go.
Okay, Damon's new F1 rules. I say yay. I say yay to all of this.
I think I feel confident saying that viewership will increase if we use these rules.
Yeah,
like tenfold.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah,
I mean, move over, soccer.
Scooch over. Okay. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I don't think I've laughed so hard in a really, really long time. But, before we finish up on the podcast, if you want to take a minute, Damon, to give the listeners kind of a rundown of ways they can find you, new stuff to check out for, look out for, how to find you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find my website, marcussmithmusic.com. You can also check me out on almost all of the social medias. Instagram is at Marcus Smith Music. Twitter is at Mr. D Smith. The Mr. is spelled out Mister. On YouTube, where you can find my newest music video for my newest single, Day After Day. Just search Marcus Smith Music. Facebook, even though it's a dying platform, Marcus Smith 216. And then stay tuned because I've got so much coming up in the next few months. I'm exclusive drop. I'm hoping to have the album finished and released by the end of April, early May. So stay tuned for that. Idris, you'll find this one amazing, hopefully as I do. One of my next singles is going to feature a longtime hero of ours from a certain period of school, gym class. He's one of my gym class heroes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I thought for a second you were going to say like Flint Flossie from Turquoise Jeep, and I was going to be like, oh,
I should hit him up actually. Yeah. So I worked with Dasashi from Gym Class Heroes. So we have a single that we'll hopefully be shooting a video for come like June, July-ish. It's just amazing.
I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. And then if you are into pop punk emo music, my band's going to be playing around Cleveland every week in February, beginning of March. And then we've got some big things coming up, like our emo prom May 13th. And then you can check us out. This is growingup.216 on Instagram is probably the best way to find out about us, because we don't have a website yet.
Nice.
Well, excellent.
Also,
thank you guys for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
We're really happy to have had you. I mean, like, you know, I told Idris when we were trying to formulate what we were going to do for our intro and outro music. I mean, there's so many things we could have pulled just as like weird instrumental stuff, but like just 2007 just hits so perfect, and it just feels like it's just the right vibe for what we were looking to kind of just intro and outro what we were doing, and it always feels right to have like a friends kind of help contribute to this thing that Idris and I enjoy. So
absolutely.
And the funny thing is too, when we were talking about theme music for the show, we were like, I think we both kind of came to that idea that we should absolutely use 2007. And or whoever brought it up, the other was just like, yep, instantly.
Yeah.
So
I think we were originally gonna like maybe have you. I think you had said like, oh, like I'll make something for you guys, but it's like you could, but that's definitely not out of the question. That could be a possibility down the road.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're always going to champion you, my dude.
I appreciate that. That's teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. That's right. All right, everybody. Well, that was F1 or F off. Just a reminder that you can follow us on Instagram at F1_or_F off. And we're also on Twitter at F1 or F off. So wherever you want to listen to podcasts, we're on there. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody who doesn't like Formula One or doesn't know what it is, but still wants to hear people laugh about really fun stuff and just be friends. We'll be your friends if you want to be friends. Is that right?
Yes.
That's right.